Bennett.
Well, Mr Speaker, there you see the negative of the Labour Party. There you see the Hobbit haters, the Rugby World Cup droppers, the people that would not like to celebrate New Zealand for all that it is and for all that it has to achieve. I proudly stand here as an Aucklander and as someone who is proud of my city and what they achieved on Friday night. It was an outstanding match. It was an outstanding Rugby Cup opening. The people there had smiles on their faces and pride in their country and pride in what they were achieving. They are proud of themselves and what they are doing, and we stand next to them as the National Party in that. Aucklanders are proud of their city. Yes, they have a waterfront that they want to show off and they want to be a part of. And Mr Speaker, I think that's fantastic. This Rugby World Cup has brought aspiration and hope and pride to New Zealanders, and that is something that we should be celebrating. Celebrating the successes. But all we see from the other side of the House repeatedly instead is the relentless negativity of just what is wrong, what is wrong, what is wrong. And they will talk it up and talk it up as much as they possibly can. Mr Speaker, I say paint it black. I say be proud of our rugby team, be proud of our country and be proud of what we can achieve. And if there's lessons to be learnt, there is one thing that is absolutely sure, is that New Zealanders are ready to learn it and we are ready to do better because we can. Mr Speaker, you see it in the employment as well. So we constantly get this. It is dire, it is negative, nothing is happening, it is absolutely. And it would suit Labour to talk that up completely, that there are absolutely no jobs for anyone. Does that count the 7,225 people that went off the benefit just last month, Mr Speaker, just last month to go into jobs? Yet 7,225 people that went off just last month to go into work. Does it count that more than 7,000 young people in net numbers that have gone off the youth unemployment benefit in the last 18 months to actually see themselves and to get into jobs? What we saw during the 2000s under that previous government was young people coming out of school into jobs that were not sustainable, that as soon as things got rocky, as soon as things got tough, they fell out of those jobs. And Mr Speaker, until that side of the House stands up and says sorry, the reality is the rest of New Zealand has not just got their phone off the hook, but doesn't even know your names. So until that side of the House actually stands up and takes up responsibility for what they have done, for out of touch they have got with New Zealanders and the real issues that affect them, actually understanding families and what happens in a household and what their requirements and their needs are, how they actually have the ability to stand up for themselves. Instead of actually seeing them as victims constantly and consistently, that puts them down and instead leads them to being dependent on a government like we saw in the 2000s, that simply saw them falling out of the few opportunities that they saw. 1 in 5 young New Zealanders leaving school unable to read and write at a capacity that they needed to get on and get in jobs. So the jobs we saw created for those young people, Mr Speaker, actually did not sustain when the economy got incredibly wobbly. The jobs were not there for them, and there is a reason for that. They did not have the skills, they did not have the abilities to actually stay in that job. And as far as I'm concerned, Mr Speaker, that side of the House should be ashamed of that and should actually stand up and apologise to New Zealanders, and then just maybe, they might start listening at some stage. Mr Speaker, actually what we're seeing is more young people taking up training opportunities. We are seeing more young people staying in school longer, and I think that's fantastic to see the growth in young people that are staying into school, that are actually coming out with more qualifications. I certainly think that the trades academies that this side of the House has introduced are going to make a massive difference for those young people. Let's see if Labour will stand up and say that they will support those sort of semi-retired older people that want to go into our schools and teach trades, those panel beaters that want to go in and actually give them a hand. Let's see them stand up and actually recognise that for all that it's worth. I am proud to be a New Zealander, proud to be an Aucklander, and that, Mr Speaker, is where this side of the House stands.
Honourable Shane Jones.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. Firstly, it's important to acknowledge, sir, in the fiasco